Hello and welcome to our vlog. I'm Ewan Calder and this is Northern Recycling Solutions.
4, 3, 2, 1!
A bit of an exciting day today. We're getting an away trip. We're off to White and Mackay, one of the biggest distilleries in Scotland. We look after their waste and work with them. I think you're going to really enjoy it. I'm just going to jump in the car and we're going to head over, and Katie's going to tell you a wee bit more about it on the way.
So we're getting a little trip out the office today. Ewan and I are off to see White and Mackay. They're one of our distillery customers. White and Mackay have got 5 sites with Northern Recycling Solutions and have achieved great things with sustainability, recycling and achieving zero waste to landfill. So we're looking forward to seeing what we do on customers' premises, meeting with Shane, Courtney and Rachel.
So that's us on site now. We're just going to start a wee look around shortly. But first we'll have a wee chat with Shane. So if you mind, Shane, maybe talk a wee bit about White and Mackay and your sustainability goals and maybe how we've managed to fit in and help you with that.
We're here at Invergordon Distillery, which is our largest distillery. So White and Mackay's been making whisky since 1844. So we've got 5 distilleries. So as well as here at Invergordon, we've got Dalmore, we've got Tomnavullen, Fetticairn and Jura. And so yeah, we're delighted to work with Northern Recycling, and this is part of our greenprint. Our greenprint is what we do in terms of sustainability and gives us the opportunity to show what we can do in terms of making whisky sustainably. So our greenprint's what we created to help us design our future. So we've got a number of aspects to it. So we've got carbon neutrality by 2030. We've got waste reduction, which is obviously to do with Northern Recycling. Yeah. We've got agriculture and biodiversity, and then we've also got a piece on packaging sustainability. So they're the aspects of our greenprint.
Last time we met, you had this great graphic that I really liked that kind of spelled out your vision for your greenprint. Maybe would you mind sharing a bit of that with the viewers?
It's grounded in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So what that means is that we look at all aspects of what we do. So the first part of it is agriculture. So we've got 100% Scottish agriculture that go into our distillery. So we've got a local wheat and a local barley programme that working with our malting partners. So we've got local agriculture. The next piece is that we go into green energy. That's also local. So we've got behind us, we've got a large anaerobic digester plant that makes biogas. And beside it, we've got a biomass factory that takes local trees and turns it into green electricity. In terms of the sustainable and the circular economy is then to go to zero waste to landfill. And that's really where the partnership with Northern Recycling comes in. So all the waste streams that we've got, we don't want to go to landfill. We want to make sure that we go into reuse, reduce and recycle, exactly.
Yeah. And then recover.
And recover as the 4 R's.
I was really interested in the Balcas at the back there. They're generating your electricity, and you've gone off grid.
We've gone off grid.
Yeah, that was a big move.
So for a number of years now, we've been buying green electricity off the grid, and the next step was then to see could we get a private wire, as you're saying. So so last May, with Balcas, we then managed to create a private wire. So now 5 megawatts of electricity goes from Balcas to here, and then behind that, for every tree that's consumed in the making the electricity, 4 are planted.
Shane, this is a massive site. It's really interesting. Can you tell us a wee bit more about it, maybe about the history?
So Invergordon is the largest distillery in the north of Scotland. So we're a 110 acre site that started in 1961, and at the moment we're investing substantially into the site. So at the moment we store 1 million barrels on site. So as well as the distillery, we've got our whisky warehouses. And what we're doing is now expanding to 232 acres. And what that's allowing us to do is that we're investing in the whisky making with our blend centre, and we're also investing in many warehouses. So this is going to be our long-term future.
maybe a wee bit of distraction from the waste, but just background for people watching. You know, the whisky is a huge industry in Scotland. There's a lot going on. Can you tell us a wee bit about the whisky industry itself?
That's it. So we're proud members of the Scotch Whisky Association. So it represents, there's 185 working distilleries in Scotland. Yeah. So there's 7 grain distilleries and 178 malt distilleries. So us in White Mackay, so we've got 1 grain and we've got 4 malt distilleries. And so we've been operating since 1844 as White Mackay, and what we think is a long-term business. So what we do across everything we do is figure out many years into the future what we're doing.
Thank you, Shane. That was excellent. We're going to move on and talk to Katie and Rachel next. They're going to explain how the contract kicked off.
Let's go see them.
So Rachel, we love working with the distillery industry. You guys are really leading the way when it comes to best practice for waste management, recycling and zero waste to landfill. We started working with you in 2021 here in Invergordon. Do you want to tell us a bit about what we've achieved since then?
Yeah, so I think Invergordon's a great site for us to have started on because it's one of our biggest, but it's also one that actually generates the most waste and the most varied waste as well. So when we started in 2021, we came in and we really just wanted to try and streamline everything as much as possible, and that's what we've really spent the last couple of years doing, is really understanding what waste we are generating, where we can sort of reduce that waste, and how we can make sure that all of that waste is actually being either recycled or going into sort of energy recovery.
So is Northern Recycling assisted with that with our reporting?
Absolutely, yes. I think one of the things that we'd struggled previously with was that we weren't getting good enough reports on what we were generating in waste and where it was going. And one of the things that actually attracted us to Northern Recycling was the fact that you were able to give us that really good reporting standard. And we get that on a monthly basis, and it breaks it down for all 5 of our sites by waste stream. And it really just gives us all the information that we actually need about what we are doing on site with our waste.
Now you've got 5 sites with us. We did a gradual thing, didn't we, as we rolled them out?
Yeah.
Was there any challenges with that?
I think the big challenge that we had was the fact that one of our distilleries is on an island off the west coast of Scotland, and it takes 2 ferries to get to it. So I think, again, another reason that we wanted to work with yourselves is you are distillery waste experts and you already service some of the islands on the west coast. So for us it made sense because in a sustainability way we were kind of jumping on the back of other pickups. So it made sense for us to be able to work with you guys to allow those pickups off Jura. Everything else is just a lot of getting our side ready to sort of move into a new system of working. Previously with our old contractor we had a different way of working, and then when we brought Northern Recycling on we had to look to how we could make improvements and change for the better, and you guys helped us and worked with us a lot to allow us to do that on all of our sites, especially in Invergordon.
One of our main selling points is we like segregation at source, and we like to make recycling easy for people. Obviously we put out recycling stations and recycling bins, aiming for like uniformity across all sites. How do you think that helped?
That's massively helped. So again, with previous contractors, we had multiple different contractors picking up multiple different types of waste streams, whereas now all of our skips are all the same colour, they're all labelled, they've all got clear identification, all of our internal recycling is all absolutely identical, it's all labelled, all colour coded, so it should be relatively simple for everybody to come along and go, well, that goes into general waste or that goes into recycling. With that, we've done a lot of internal sort of education to help the guys on site know where things go, and again, if they don't know, they just need to ask. But the fact that everything looks the same, everything's labelled up, just makes our life 10 times easier.
Sending stuff to waste to energy is great, but it's obviously the last resort.
Yep.
So the focus is always on recycle first. And you guys have achieved amazing results and high targets in recycling before you took that step to waste to energy.
Yeah, I think certainly at Invergordon we were quite good at trying to segregate what we could recycle, but it was knowing how to recycle it and who could recycle it for us. So I think having the expertise in yourself to be able to say, right, we've got this certain piece of equipment or we've got this certain X bit of distilling equipment that needs to be recycled, what do we do? And we send you pictures, we have conversations, and you guys can help us either break it down or send it off to the right place to be recycled, which is fantastic for us.
We work together and we always find something.
Absolutely, I think we've thrown quite a few challenges, certainly again from Invergordon. This site has a cooperage but also has a drain and fill store where we're actually drilling into casks and creating sawdust, which again is covered in paint from the casks, but it's also covered in alcohol that's in the cask itself as well. So trying to dispose of those things. So we're often sending off samples to you guys going, where can this go? But you've worked really well with us over the last couple of years to identify where we might have challenges and help us to be able to make sure that nothing is going to landfill. We're getting the best possible direction for where our waste is going.
And we don't always have the answers right away. There's been some challenging waste streams over the years, but because we've got a lot of connections in the industry, we always find a solution.
Shall we go and meet up with the others and have a wee look around site and see what goes on a day-to-day?
Yeah, sounds good.
Fab.
Hi Courtney, so we're out here next to one of the grain skips here at White and Mackay. This one's been specially designed with a roll top to control the dust. You're responsible for managing the skips on site.
Yeah, so basically I'll coordinate with Northern Recycling and also the guys on site to make sure the correct things are going in the correct skips. If there's any issues, I'll go and speak to them, and then I'll also speak to Northern Recycling, and that's basically my job. A lot of skip work, a lot of waste.
So is that quite a challenge, keeping everybody right and making sure everything's okay?
It can be. I think some people don't have the knowledge of what's supposed to go in the correct skips, but I'm pretty approachable, so they tend to speak to me a lot and just ask me questions. And then also we'll do weekly skip walks, so we'll go around with health and safety and check everything ourselves and then have toolbox talks with everyone.
So obviously your volumes fluctuate depending on what's happening on site. How easy is that to manage with booking skips in?
It's good with Northern Recycling because they have a system in place where we'll just be able to contact them. We'll send through forms these days, and then we'll also speak to the site manager, and then he'll tell us when there's shutdowns, and I'll liaise with Northern Recycling to tell them. Helps that Northern Recycling are really easy to contact and communicate with.
Right, good.
Mm-hmm.
Here at Invergordon Distillery, we've got a large-scale farming program called Grow Scotland. So each year we buy 60,000 tonnes of wheat, and we use that with our local malted barley. So one of the issues that we have is then how do we deal with to keep the grain clean? So the clean grain then gets better yield, helps us with the spirit that we make that we're going to turn into whiskey.
So basically our engineers designed this 40-yard skip in the background here, and Northern Recycling helped us put it together. But the system basically takes all the dirt, chaff away from the process and cleans it. Also, the dust is a health and safety risk, so this really helps with the process. And then Northern Recycling are able to take it away. They take it to a place that goes on farms, it's biodegradable, so it's a circular economy.
At Invergordon here, we are one of the few distilleries that actually has its own on-site cooperage. In the cooperage, we are regenerating some of our casks to be used on-site. What this means is that we have to char the insides of the casks. With this comes almost an ash that then we have to find a waste stream for that to go into and an end of life for that. Northern Recycling have been fantastic working with us to allow us to get to a point where that is not going to landfill. The other thing that we get from the cooperage is the hoops that go round the casks themselves. So these either need to be taken off and replaced, and then we've got a lot of metal waste from that as well. So again, it's a different style of waste stream from some of our other distilleries, but it's another one where Northern Recycling are able to come in and help us make sure that all of this is being recycled recycled as much as it can be. One of the things that we really wanted to focus on when we moved to Northern Recycling was looking at making sure that all of our bins and our skips all were identical. One of the places that we felt this was strongest in was in our tea rooms and our kitchens for our staff on site. Therefore, we insisted that we had all identical internal recycling and waste bins. These are now in every single kitchen, restroom, bathroom on our site, and it just allows for much easier recycling for the guys on site.
Okay, Shane, well, thank you. That's been a fantastic tour. We've seen a lot of interesting things, but just a wee last section. What are your plans for the future?
Here at White Mackay, we're growing our company. So what does that mean? So here at Invergordon site, so our site's going from 110 to 232 acres. So we've got our grain distillery here behind us. So yes, we're renovating the distillery. We're spending a lot of money. So we've got green energy. So behind us, we've got our anaerobic digestion plant. We've got our green electricity plant with through Balgas. And then we're also investing with state-of-the-art carbon capture and storage technology. As well as in the site, we've got our blend centre, which is our whisky making. So in the background, we've got some large tanks behind our wheat silo here. Yeah. And then we're also then adding in many warehouses. So we're going to double the number of casks we're going to store in site from 1 million barrels to over 2 million barrels. So
I've seen some of the construction work over near the A9. How many buildings are you going to put up there?
So yeah, we're going to add 115 warehouses. So what we call a warehouse is 1,000 square meters. So yeah, we're going to build 115,000 square meters of warehousing, which is over 1 million barrels.
And how many years is that? That's a long-term plan.
So we've got until 2077 to build it.
Wow.
But yeah, so the way we're going though at the moment is we'll have built everything before that.
I'm proud of myself. I think about next year. You guys are thinking 50 years ahead.
That's it. So Scotch whisky is very, very long-term business.
Yeah. So that's us come to the end of our visit. I just really appreciate your time, guys. Thanks so much. It's been really informative. I think the viewers are going to love it. And just thank you.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ewan.
See you again. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thanks for visiting our site.
Over the years, customers like White and Mackay have helped us push on. You know, there's people that are really interested in improving their environmental credentials. Have helped us seek out new solutions and new ideas, and it's been great to work with them. The kind of contracts that these guys are giving us, you know, we've got people like the NHS, other whisky distillers, big wood manufacturers nearby. All these guys giving us this work has helped us reinvest in our site to improve our own environmental credentials and the kind of great things we can do to reduce waste. So, you know, our new recovery centre, you've seen it in previous blogs, but we're now able to recover far more waste. That's reducing the carbon footprint. We're managing to get more local disposal because of that, and less vehicles on the A9, which up in Inverness is important to a lot of people. When we started in the waste industry almost 20 years ago now, there was just constant change, and there still is, and I suppose it's just as well we love change. Back then it was just simply recycling, trying to reduce landfill. Then it moved on to zero waste to landfill, trying to get waste incinerated, and now we're looking at zero carbon and net zero. So it's constantly evolving. Other things along the way. I mean, there's so many changes, but one of the big things that we introduced was the recording of data, which has gone down really well with our customers. All our vehicles are fitted with weighing systems, our vans, our lorries, each bin is weighed. So all that data automatically feeds back into the system, generates a report at the end of each month, so they know exactly where they are and they can see their progress. They can benchmark themselves and move forward and track improvements. So who knows what's coming next? All I know is I love it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We certainly did. Hope to see you next time. Thanks.